Well, good morning. How is everyone? I hope you are all well. It's a horrible rainy day here in the UK. A horrible rainy day indeed. But as far as I'm aware, it is, however, the midweek hump. I'm hoping I'm right. I'm hoping that I'm right. I've got no real reference point in front of me. No, I do. It's Wednesday, the 8th of November. God, I'm getting better at this. Anyway, you're looking amazing, by the way. Absolutely amazing. I love that. I absolutely love that. I love it. Keep on going. Do you know what? This video is going to be a bit of a room splitter, by the way. And I know we've done room splitters in the past. And yeah, when you're talking about these sort of crimes, they do become quite high emotion. There's a lot of emotion. There's a lot of feelings. There's a lot of personal, a personal journey for everybody who follows these. I know some people say this is entertainment for some, but some people have a real deep connection with these sort of cases. It might be because they have been through certain things themselves, whether it be the loss of a loved one or a friend, multiple things. It could just be the breakdown of the family unit. I have many people who reach out to me because of my history, and people who have been around the channel for some time will kind of know about my history and the breakdown of relationships in the past, and all sorts of things, and loss. I've lost friends, I've lost family, and you guys have also been on these journeys. But with respect to the Idaho 4 case, we've got this situation. What I will say is I have to give a shout out to Jules of all trades, because it was Jules' video that brought my attention to this. Even though I have an account on Twitter or X, whatever it's called now, can't really stand it. Same as things like TikTok. I've got a TikTok account. I think I've got around 10,000 followers on there, but I don't log on there. I don't go on there. So some things I don't get that quickly. Maybe I should start logging on there more and utilising that more. But Jules of all trades, and what I will say is, look, in the link in the description of Jules' video, now I could add it to this, but I'm not purposefully, because I want you to go over there. Because this video is going to be from a father and stepfather's perspective, and Jules comes at it from a mum's perspective, but talking about the same issue that we see here. She probably has a little bit more decorum than what I do, because, look, I am, at the end of the day, I am a father, I'm a stepfather, and I have failed. I'm not coming at this topic because I'm saying I'm better. I'm saying that I've failed and had to learn, and it gives me an insight into the psyche, the mentality, the thought processes that happen in certain scenarios. And Steve Goncalves, I feel, has, ever since this happened, he has built this thing that is who the Goncalves family are, who Steve Goncalves is, and who Steve Goncalves represents. There has been things that Steve Goncalves has done that has brought his... How can I say? I don't want to say whether he's being disingenuous, but sometimes you have to consider that, regardless of who he is and what he has been through. It was stated in the Howard Bloom situation that when Steve Goncalves had approached this apparent informant, the FBI turned around and said to him, "Stay away from that person. We don't care who you are and what you've been through. If you do what you're not supposed to do, there will be repercussions to it." And we don't know how truthful the Howard Bloom situation is, but that resonating statement sits. And it does mean that just because you've been through certain things, you've done certain things, you're going through certain things, you've suffered, it doesn't give you the right for other things to be any less considered wrong. And what do I mean? Some of you will already know. And like I say, at the end of watching this, please do go over to Jules of all trades and listen to Jules. Bless me. And on top of that, please also check out the link and go and listen to Samantha Nelson. For those of you who don't know, there will be some that don't know, this here is Samantha Nelson. This is Kaylee Goncalves' sister. This is her sister. And what has brought this about? So this is basically her giving her story, her side of what has happened. And I'm not going to spoil it. I'm going to just touch on some elements of it. But I want you to look at this. So this is a comment from her. Obviously, she's uploaded this and she's got a lot of love from this. Do you know what I mean? But this statement, this is a comment that she commented. And she said, "So much love here. Thanks, guys. It's just challenging because it's like grieving them both. He lost her and I them all. Thank you." Now, what she's talking about here is the fact that ever since, she didn't really have a relationship with her father. She certainly hasn't had a relationship with Steve since what happened to Kaylee. They have not spoken. He has not reached out. He has not communicated at all with her. This is his child. We see situations where there are parents who something happens to one child. It might be that they lose that child. It might be that that child is hurt but not lost. But what it does as a parent, it makes them more vigilant. Some people say it may make them overprotective. They become overbearing. But seldom, in fact, I say seldom, never have I heard a situation where a parent who truly loves their children lose a child and seemingly still stay alienated from another child. If ever you need a catalyst to step up and be the person who you should be, is that not in the loss of a child? Would that not, if you are genuine, if you are an amazing father, an amazing person, would that not be the catalyst to think, I need to take stock of what is around me, those that are around me, and hold them close, pull them close? We see multiple cases internally in this Goncalves situation where they talk about how strong they are as a unit and how this has brought them close together. They have reached out and formed the Kaylee Goncalves army. But that army does not include Steve's other daughter, his child, a child who is hurting. Make no bones about it, she is in pain. She has lost a sibling. And not only that, but by her own admission, she talks about the fact how hard it is to see her father go on to these interviews and talk about these things. And look, I'm gonna lay this shit out because I've been in this position. My father was a violent and abusive man. A violent and abusive man. He, multiple times had I been put in hospital through this man. He was a violent, nasty bully. He was nasty and violent towards myself, my mum, to the point where his behaviour towards my mum would force a nervous breakdown, which would end up leading to where most of you know, and that is the death of my mum. Things moved on, time progressed, and he got another family. He ended up having 3 children with his new partner. Now, a few weeks ago, my father very suddenly died, had a heart attack and died. And I saw his, which would be my half-brothers and sisters, all over social media talking about what an amazing, fantastic man he was. How brilliant he was, how he was such a fantastic listener, how he was always there. And me, wrongfully, rarely, because the issues I have with him are my issues, but I put onto social media on these posts that was their picture of him and saying how wonderful he was, to simply put, you were lucky that you got that half of him because I didn't. And what spurned from that was a huge argument with my half-brother, as he would approach me and he would turn around and say, that was sick what you did. You messaged and put that on there and your sisters saw that, your half-sisters saw that, and how upsetting is that? But I turned the tables and said, but hold on a second. The relationship that you had with him wasn't the relationship that I had. I had completely the opposite end of the spectrum, to the point where his violence and his attacks would eventually lead to the death of my mother. So how do you think it feels when I see these posts all over social media saying what an amazing person he is? And I guess to a degree it's the same for Samantha, where she sees what Kaylee saw, or what Kaylee had, and what Kaylee continues to have, even in her absence, that is void in Samantha's life. And it's as if she is reaching out and saying, I'm here, I am here, notice me. Please just notice me. You are my father too. And she deserves that. And Steve Goncalves, I cannot understand for the life of me why this situation, this tragic, horrendous situation, I would not wish on anybody, why wasn't it a catalyst for him to do better for those that are left? And again, I do have to say that it makes Steve Goncalves and what he talks about, and this strength in their family and their loving and caring nature, it makes it seem disingenuous. It makes it seem that way. And it's sad, because I don't want to kick a man when he's down. But the point being, I don't know how down Steve Goncalves is. It then makes you wonder whether, when he goes on to these interviews and he is indeed wearing a hex hat that we know has connections with cyber currency companies that have been under investigation for actively ripping people off, and you just wonder whether it was just a mistake, or whether he is utilizing this situation for a marketing situation to potentially gain from it. Is this entire situation of him going into these interviews and saying what he's saying, is that just for attention? Is there something for him to gain from it? Because even though he has suffered a huge, massive loss, there has been gains from it. Now, will the gains ever outweigh the loss? Again, I go back to the fact of whether you can understand whether his actions are disingenuous or genuine. I can't understand, because there is this child in the background who is being ignored. And if Steve Goncalves is this all-loving, all-brilliant father, then surely this shouldn't be the case. And again, I know this is probably, and some will say, you're just being harsh. And maybe I am just being harsh. And like I say, this doesn't come from a place where I claim to be perfect. It doesn't. It comes from a place where I myself have failed, but I've learned from them failings, and I have made sure to get my ship in order, and to not fail further, and make the relevant changes to my life to make sure that moving forward I can do everything in my power. And make no bones about it, if anybody was to hurt any of my children, I would turn the world upside down for them. And I would certainly, if there was any reparations to be done, they would be done. So I ask you, Steve Goncalves, why are reparations not being done around you? And if you are this amazing father, then when you have Samantha who is reaching out to you and she is in pain, she is suffering, she has lost. She has lost as much, if not more, than what you have. But yet you are nowhere to be seen, because you are too busy forming your army. But as we know, armies contain soldiers, and soldiers never ever leave a man behind. I'll catch you all in the next one.